The survival myth that has killed more native men than bears ever did is the belief that liquor keeps a hunter warm. By native, I mean men native to the ground under their boots, local men raised in that timber, hunting it all their lives. Bear deaths are rare. Exposure, water, and alcohol-related injury take a larger toll overall, though no clean local ratio exists. A flushed hunter can lose core heat in a wet blind. One impaired call at a tree stand, cold river, small boat, or firearm can leave him unable to reach shelter. After 56 years hunting, I know familiar ground offers no immunity. We'll start with what a drink does inside a cold body, then wet cotton and cold water, and finish with the point where you shelter, signal, and quit trying to walk it off. When I say native men here, I mean men native to the ground under their boots, local men, raised in that timber, men who had hunted the same ridges and bottoms their whole lives. That kind of knowledge matters. It tells you where the creek rises, where the wind cuts, and how daylight leaves a hollow. But it can also make a man stop checking. He has taken a nip from a flask on cold mornings for years, nothing happened. So the habit starts to feel proven. It is not proven. Bear fatalities in North America are rare. Exposure, water, falls, poisoning, and ordinary bad decisions put far more people in danger. We cannot honestly put a hard ratio on deaths among local men in any one region because those records do not match up that neatly. But the bigger burden of unintentional injury, poisoning, and cold exposure in northern native communities is real, and it is worth talking about plainly. That is not politics. It is practical survival. After 56 years in the woods, starting with my great-grandfather and my father, I know familiar ground offers no immunity. A man can know every ridge on his lease and still be wrong about what is happening inside his coat. So check present conditions before you leave. Weather, wet clothing, water, daylight, your route, a way to signal. And make this rule. Alcohol is not warmth, and it is not part of getting home, because the drink can make you feel warmer while it does the opposite inside your body. Here's what a warm face actually means. Blood vessels near your skin open up wide. That's what a drink does. And warm blood from your core rushes out to the surface. That's the flush you feel in your cheeks and hands. Cold air or cold water is sitting right there waiting for it, and it pulls that heat off you fast. So you feel warmer while you're actually cooling faster underneath. Think of it like propping the cabin door open because the porch feels cold, and calling the porch warm now, while the whole cabin bleeds heat out into the night. And it doesn't stop at temperature. The same drink slows your reaction time, throws off your balance, dulls your judgment. That's the hunter who pushes into weather he'd have turned back from sober, who misjudges a river crossing, who loses his footing coming down off a stand, who handles a rifle a little looser than he should. Any one of those can put a man on the ground, hurt, a long way from anyone. So, set the rule before you leave the house. No drink for warmth, not near firearms, not near water, not near a climb. If the cold's already got you, layers and shelter do the work, not the flask. But layers only work dry. Wet ones are a different problem entirely. Cotton is the quiet part of this problem. Sweat, rain, snow, or a bad step in a creek soaks a cotton shirt or sock, and it loses most of its insulation. It holds water against your skin and pulls heat away. A good jacket over it does not fix the cold, wet layer underneath, and alcohol makes you wait too long to change. You feel warm enough. Your core is still cooling. I live in Tennessee. You do not need Arctic weather. Cool rain, wind, wet ground, and a long sit can lower body heat here. Familiar timber makes wet clothes feel like an inconvenience. They are a heat loss problem. Before the next hunt, check your base layer and spare socks. Are they cotton? Is the spare set sealed against rain or immersion? If it is wet too, you do not have a dry clothes plan. Intense shivering, clumsy hands, slurred speech, or confusion means shelter now. Remove wet clothes when dry layers and insulation are ready. Drowsiness is not recovery. Do not let a cold, wet person sleep outdoors. If they are confused or less responsive, keep them gently engaged, shelter them, and arrange help. And cold water gives you less time still. When a boat goes over, keeping your airway clear comes first. A cold water capsize can bring on an involuntary gasp and hard, fast breathing. If you have been drinking, slowed reactions and poor awareness make it harder to get that breathing under control. Keep water out and use the flotation already on your body. So wear flotation in a small boat on cold water and keep alcohol out of that boat. Once you are in, get your breathing under control. Keep your airway clear. Hold on to the boat, blind, shore, or whatever solid support is within reach. The 1-10-1 rule is useful. Roughly a minute of cold shock, roughly 10 minutes before cold takes useful movement out of your hands and legs. Then a longer window before unconsciousness. Those times vary with the water, your clothes, your size, and fatigue. Do not treat them like a stopwatch. Leave the gun, leave the decoys, leave the bag. Gear can be replaced. A man trying to save gear while he is losing the use of his hands has got his priorities backwards. And being close to the truck does not change this. A capsize, a current, or one step into water over your head can put cold, waves, drowning, and hypothermia on you before that truck matters. Before launching, decide which shore or cover is the real emergency destination. On land, the cold usually gives you more time, but it asks a harder question. Do you keep walking when your judgment is already starting to fade? Use stop, stop, stay calm, stay put until you have a specific, reasoned plan. That does not mean sitting in open wind above tree line or on open water. If a short known move gets you behind timber, under cover, or off wet ground, make it. But name the destination and why it is safer. Downhill ought to lead somewhere is not a plan. Cold and alcohol both take fine work away. You misread a compass. A familiar trail looks right, and following a drainage can put you in a river bottom, marsh, or cliff band after dark. If you are wet, hurt, exhausted, or unsure of the route, build shelter, conserve heat, and signal. Do not try to outwork the cold by pushing uphill through snow or wading marsh. That effort loads a body already trying to stay warm. More deer hunters die from heart attacks than gunshot wounds. If you do not drink, good. It removes one risk. Wet cotton, fatigue, cold water, and bad movement decisions still apply. I would rather look foolish under shelter, signaling, than determined in a river bottom after dark. Before moving, name the cover you can reach, why it is safer, and what you do if it is not there. Cannot answer all three? Shelter and signal. When shivering becomes confusion or drowsiness, you need to know whether this is still self-rescue. If he is fully awake, can answer you plainly, and can swallow without trouble, get him out of wind and wet first. Put dry layers on him, then blankets or an emergency bivvy with dry insulation underneath. A mylar blanket over wet cotton is a shiny wrapper around a heat sink, and it can trap moisture besides. Small, warm drinks and high-calorie food can help, but only when he can safely swallow. Do not rub frost-bitten skin. Do not put a severely cold man in a hot tub or force him to walk hard to warm up. In severe hypothermia, the heart can become electrically unstable. Rough handling and high outside heat can bring on a dangerous rhythm problem when he is already in bad shape. And hear me on this. Drowsiness is not him getting comfortable. If he is fading out, cannot keep his airway clear, or his breathing or pulse seems severely slowed, quit trying to fix it with camp tricks. Handle him gently, shelter him, signal or call for help. That is past self-rescue. A hunting partner helps, sure, but two wet, tired men can both get compromised. The strongest thing you can do is stop inventing heroic work and protect that man until help arrives. Check your pack before the hunt. Dry insulation beside that bivvy, not just reflective plastic. Because once you are wet and confused, whatever you failed to pack becomes the plan you do not have. That is why I do not treat the flask as part of cold weather gear. It changes the feeling of cold. It does not give you dry socks, a place out of the wind, or enough clear thinking to stop before you are spent. Build the pack for the wet version of the hunt. Wool or synthetic against the skin when weather can turn. Dry clothes and dry socks sealed where rain or an overturned boat cannot soak them. An emergency bivvy or mylar blanket, yes, but insulation underneath it too. Shelter material. A map and compass you use while your hands still work. A way to signal. And make the rules fit the hunt. Waterfowlers wear flotation and leave alcohol out of the boat. In wet snow, mountain hunters avoid cotton and make short, conservative moves toward cover. From a stand or blind, pay attention during that long, still sit, then do not climb down cold and rush into hard walking. I hunt with my grandson now. The standard I mean to pass on is plain. Carry what works after the weather turns, not what sounds good around a fire. Familiar ground deserves that much respect. Before a cold or wet hunt, no alcohol afield, no cotton against the skin, dry insulation protected in the pack, flotation on cold water, and a shelter and signal plan if daylight fails. What is the one thing in your cold weather pack that lets you get dry after a soaking? Put it in the comments. And tell me your rule for alcohol when a hunt involves cold water, climbing, or a night outside. Next time, we will talk about getting lost close to familiar ground after dark. Stop while you still know where you are.